So our journey goes on now. From Senegal, we travel to Brazil. With Frieder Ittner. He had a lot of courage to come here today because we only met 2 days ago, per coincidence. We knew each other, but we met. And he was so organized and courageous to come here and pitch tonight, despite the short time of preparation, because somebody renounced the slot because he was ill or she was ill. And I'm very happy to have you here and show us everything you know about courage.
Thank you so much, and very welcome to our journey today. I like to invite you to the hero's journey, or to the mood camp, which is about courage and which is a lot about purpose and your inner purpose. And we're gonna get also to the topic of calling. But before we start into that journey, I would like to offer a little challenge. We're gonna talk about courage and mood a lot today. And the person who will count most exactly how often I'm gonna use this in the presentation today will get some gift at the end of the presentation. You just have to remind me of this because I'm pretty sure I will be nervous at the end and running out of time, but we're gonna have a look how far we're gonna get today and what we manage out of our hero's journey, Jornada do Herói. And I also tried something new because I never did this with this constellation without tone and stuff. So I tried to hop between the computer and here. No, it works better. Between the computer and here, and show you a little bit about the models we're gonna use and tell you a little story. So you already see there's a flip chart, so what I'm gonna start with is a story which begins something like 5 years ago. Imagine a guy who just is totally in love with a Brazilian girl, but she's living in Chicago, which makes the stuff a little bit complicated. Same situation. Now you get to know that you will not finish your PhD because you get in trouble with your advisor. For some reasons it gets clear like there's some kind of a crisis. And in year 2015, what do? Maybe you read about sabbaticals, you read about retreats, all the stuff. That's what this guy did. He decided to go for half of a year sabbatical to Brazil. And by chance, there was a stop in between, which went through India. And that should be the starting point of our journey today. And as you imagine, this guy was me 5 years ago, just trying to reinvent my own life and find my new purpose, find my new way, and deal with this, coming out of a world of consulting and the systemic world of the ISB in Wiesloch. And lucky we, in 2019, the Harvard Business Manager announced mood is the topic of leadership and companies in 2020. And if we take this seriously, something like mood camps, where you take a look inside, or hero's journey approaches, is what it needs. It's not like SDGs, it's not that formal. It's more like an emotional process, but it has something in common. It is an idea to create a map and to create orientation by using some tools and models. And that's what I try to do today, and also bring in 2, 3, 4 pictures from that journey. Because I think still images or pictures tell so much more than just words. And what I would like to invite you to, and to be courageous, take mood, is not just look at the mainstream, look at the little things that are touching, that are creating resonance. And I try it this way. And this is, for example, when you meet people. And I told you the story started in India, And that guy, he's from Brazil. And when I was going for Brazil, meeting him in India, that was some kind of a sign to me. And we met there 3-4 times in these 5 months and created something new, which was absolutely not planned. We didn't even know what we do. But we found out it has to do with taking time for the details, for looking beside. Like in a train in India, you look for the kitchen, which would be totally impossible in Germany. Imagine you would do this in an ICE to Stuttgart. People would get crazy. Yeah? But in India, it's that what you experience if you not take the plane. If you are courageous enough to take trains, buses, local transportation, go on a lower level. And this lower level was also the starting point in Brazil. So when I was arriving there in Rio, my first 10 days have been in a favela. And this is Tia Maria. It would be, I guess, best translated Aunt Maria. And she's the cook of the school in that favela. And she's doing this for 15 to 20 years now. And if you take a look at her, and if you imagine that she's really happy, this gives you a hint what a hero's journey can be about. It's not mainly about money. It's about well-being. It's about how you feel and doing what you really love. And it's also about being able to see the beauty and take action. That was New Year's Day 2016 in the morning at 6 o'clock, for example. That was the first group. We tried something out called A Hero's Journey, Jornada da Herói. And you see that people are super thankful if you give a chance to explore yourself, even if you have not the perfect smart plan. But if the people really, really understand that you're doing your best. And what Brazil also offers, because this was like 3 years ago, is this attitude of taking things not so serious, of having fun, of giving the emotional part, or like giving emotions in general more space. And you see, it developed. It went to the DIE already here. It went to Italy, to a cloister called Abano. It went also to some friends in India again, where all of this started. But the program is still in a stage that we try to find out what works best. And that is what I'd like to do with you for the next, let's say, 8 minutes, to have a look at some ideas, more specific at 3 models that we think are most relevant in the context of heroes' journeys or courage. And if we would have sound, we would even get some kind of an advice by Jeff Bezos, who's not pretty much known as the most sustainable person with Amazon, but he's really focusing on your calling and your purpose. And if you're interested, I'm gonna send this video link to you after the presentation, because it's just a minute, but it's so touching, it's so clear that if you're not just working, if you're really looking for your call, it changes your whole life. So it doesn't work well, so we skip that part and we step into the hero's journey. And the first model I like to discuss with you, and whenever you want, be courageous and ask questions. Next time, courageous. That's too fast. The first model I would like to present is the basic idea of the hero's journey, which is pretty much based on Joseph Campbell's idea of the monomyth, which is super, super famous for the last 2,000 years. So it's a basic idea how Hollywood movies work. If you look at Star Wars, Harry Potter, at whatever, there's always a hero. It every time starts with a refusal, and there get more and more people involved, and then you got to fight the evil. So that's the basic step, and then you get into the crisis, and you have to relearn something. You have to integrate something. And if you condense it a little bit from 12 to 8, you get to this model, which starts of preparing yourself to hear your call again, of asking yourself, what is it, what I really want to do in my life, beside earning money or beside having some kind of luxury? What is it that really makes me happy? And what would it need to allow myself to relate or like get in touch with my fears again? And ask myself the questions that are not so easy to ask. Like maybe what do I have to accept? What I don't want to see? And that's where this whole journey starts. It starts not in the outside, it starts in the inside. And in my perspective, purpose is something from the inside also. So you will never find your purpose by asking a marketing guru or by asking some politicians, what's a good life? This question you can find if you work with yourself. And one thing to work, or one idea how to work with yourself is drawing something like a lifeline. And if you want to make it on an easy way, you just start 2015, the last 5 years, and you mark what are good points, what are things, moments you've been super happy, and you mark the points you've been very disappointed, fearful, whatever. And if you look at this in a row, you maybe realize some patterns. So first model, which is about the time and your pattern. The second model is to dive more deeply into this inner journey. And the question is how to do this. Do you have any idea how to dive into your inner journey besides doing a retreat, which is a great idea, or vipassana? What do you do if you want to dive into your inner journey? Any idea?
Daily meditation. Daily meditation.
Daily meditation, what else?
Writing a diary.
Yeah.
Writing a diary or journaling is a very, very good idea.
Painting or music.
Painting, music, so everything that gets you out of your cognitive world into a more emotional space, which is more related to your subconscious. So,
having children is also very connected.
I'm sure that's a great way. I just don't know because I'm not having children right now, but I'm gonna try it out.
You will reach the next level.
Oh, that's the perfect bridge. If you want to get to know yourself better, it's about levels. And the next model I'm gonna just pitch for a moment is the so-called spiral dynamics or the Graves levels. There we go. Have you ever heard about spiral dynamics? Okay. Spiral dynamics is an idea that people develop in so-called maturity levels. And in whatever level you are related to different values. So this is not a personality model, this is a model about your personal values. And if you look at this from, like, you're starting on level 2, which is pretty much about family, it's called purple level, which is pretty much about relationships, rituals. You step into something that is more reddish, that is more about fighting, developing yourself, getting into action. You step into blue, which is more about being loyal, following rules, and creating something more structured. And then you get up to orange and green and even higher levels, which are focusing on meta levels, equality, and all of this stuff. And they are pretty much online tests already. So this gives you a hint, what is your mission about? And if you want to check Google, you check for genio or genius, which is like, what is your present to the world? What is the thing you really want to bring into that world? And it also taps into the topic of your calling and your purpose. Because if you look at your values, if you look at your lifeline, if you look at what really matters to you, you get more and more hints what's your passion and what's your calling. And as you see, the 8 steps are here again. Because we believe on every maturity level, you do something like a hero's journey. And you do this hero's journey as long as you have not learned your lesson. Or in other words, as soon as you learn your lesson, you step to the next level. I have 1 more minute, so just briefly. The most important thing, if you just take one thing away from today, is that it's about your state of mind. It's about your connection of your so-called cognitive, your heart or emotional level, and to the quantum field. And you also see it's like the 0U, open mind, open heart, open will. So all the modern theories are related to the state. And I have maybe 30 more seconds to finish this up. We get to the last slide of today. Thanking the people. No, that's the free online course, which is about 1,000 people already. You can take it also, it's for free. If you take away 3 things, purpose is something from inside. It's all about the state. It's the heart, it's the emotion, and it's the field. And even more important, if you ask yourself, are you willing to hear the call, or are you just want to stay relaxed? So thank you very much. And as the Time magazine also said, it's all about you. So, any questions?
Who are your customers, or who are coming? What age groups are coming?
The age groups and the customers is a very good question. In Brazil, it's pretty much, so most of our work is done in Brazil, and it's pretty much mixed from 19 years to 62. But the people seem to have in common that they realize something is not working well anymore. Something is but they cannot name it. And if I look at Germany, what we do at the DIE or in other institutions, it's pretty often the people who try to find out what is really making me happy, and what is, they also have, like in 0U, they have this strange feeling, something is wrong, but I want to change something, but not in a radical way. And so people who are trying to take action and being more what's the right word in English? In Germany would say you have more Selbststeuerungskompetenz. Maybe you're more...
Sounds good.
So, I hope you understand the word. Yeah. Other questions?
I'm interested to know what is the most interesting result you've got from one of the clients that you said, wow, it's a really big change or a surprise or something?
I think why I do this is when you step out of the 4 days, or if you step out just out of 1 day, and you see the people smiling, and you see that something happened, and you can't even explain what really was going on, but you see there's some kind of dynamics, and you see that the people got in touch with something which is more personal. And some students at the SAH told me, we look at the same things as before, but we get in touch in a different way. And I think that is the best result we can get out of something like 4 days, because this is just like a sprint. It's giving you an idea what's possible, and you have to walk your way.
So you are using different coaching techniques during those trainings, or you are...
Mm-hmm. So the hero's journey has more or less 3 pillars. The one is the classical systemic work, which is developed by Bernd Schmidt. So that's why he's on...
He was on the slide.
Yeah. So this is pretty much like the local hero here, Bernd Schmidt. and Gunther Schmidt, who's doing this hypnosystemic work, which is also called generative coaching by Stephen Gilligan and others. And the third pillar, I believe, which is even also that powerful, is just body work. So you create group dynamics and you create a relation to what you feel, what you perceive. Embodiment.
Yeah.
So these are the three major pillars. And then we add something and try, like design thinking and that stuff also, because people need a way to translate it into their daily life. And if you say, hey, I do design thinking, it's so much more cool than, hey, I'm doing an inner journey and I try to do this and this. It sounds a little bit like esoteric, but if you put it just in different wording, it works perfectly. So this is like design. If you look at this from a design thinking perspective, it's pretty much about finding out what's really going on and ideation and doing your first MVPs, like we just learned. Try out something new, but you need to be courageous, again, for the challenge, to do this, because it wouldn't be a hero's journey if there's no risk.
What do you take from Brazil to Germany and vice versa?
I take a lot from Brazil here in terms of like the vibe, and we call it the spirit of the hero's journey. Because here very often you get so serious and it has to work. And there we started to, yeah, come on, let's try, let's make it fun. And maybe we fail, and maybe we fail twice. And it's a different kind of relationship because it's based on, or more based on emotions. And that's what we take from there, also the music and a lot of the paintings and the colors, because I love to do this and I'm so much inspired by the Brazilian way. And what we can take from Germany is this more scientific approach or the models, that we create something that fits together. So it's not just something, it's more like a system. And all of these models, like you see again, this is integrated into the magic hat. Or if you look at the spiral, there is the passion and the purpose and everything integrated again. And even if we dive into the topics of vision and mission, it also is pretty much integrated into these smaller journeys. So that is, I think, this analytical way, this more systemic thinking, what we can take from Germany.
And do you want to grow now, to multiplicate, or what's your goals? What are your goals for the next time? What's your journey?
That's a good question. So I will not finish the PhD. That is already done. But what I try to do is create something that matters. And not in a way like that we get famous or we get a lot of money, but we try to give people a chance to learn about themselves and learn how they can take action. Because if I just look at the situation in Iran at the moment, it's just crazy. And why is this happening? Because people don't take action. And if we want to change something, we should start with ourselves. We should be more courageous, we should be focused, and we should allow ourselves to have dreams. And what I think Jeff Bezos was in this 1 minute just saying, kids already know how to do this, but we unlearned it. And that's the Brazilian way. I try to encourage people to live a little bit more of their dreams, to be stupid, to ask questions, to do what they are really passionate about, and to also inspire others. And some people say it's like, in Brazil you call it saudade. It's something like Sehnsucht. It's a feeling you're longing for and you want to get again into that state. And that's what we try to create, because if you really want something and if you feel it's right, you will take action. And that is this hero journey thing, that we don't lack cognitive energy. We lack like this heart feeling and this connection to the field, or to the like Otto Schama puts it all the time, like this open will. So that would be more or less the goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like very much your idea. It's really good, and I think there are many people that could, yes, take it and grow with it. And which channels are you expecting to use for Let It Grow in Germany, for example? Practical ways.
We have a two-term strategy. The one is to put a lot for free, doing this in the DIE and other institutions, so everybody has an access to this. For this course, for example, the goal is to reach the 1,000 people till February. But at the same time, you need to earn some money with this. And now it gets interesting. You can earn some money with something that's called a mood camp. So you work with leaders to deal in a different way with their own fears, with VUCA world, with uncertainty. And with the money you earn there, you can finance the other initiatives. And that's the way we try to establish it at the moment, because I still believe in the idea Bernd Schmidt always puts, like, give people a perfect chance to learn, but also try to do it in a sustainable way in terms of financial terms. And that's what I think Muhammad Yunus also points out. You have to find a way to create a business model that works. And if I'm just doing this in the DIE for free, or just for like some donation in Brazil, I will never pay the rent of my flat. But if I do these mood camps at the same time, and I just use a different wording, and the same idea gets spread around, and people really feel this change, and also in economic terms, so basically I'm an economist, it really pays out, because if people are more willing to take decisions, and if they are more willing to engage and do what they really want to do, they unleash their potential. So you're totally working in a different mode. And that's what I think is key. So it seems like, yeah.
Do you have long-term goals of your clients? You take a look at some points and see how they develop?
We already, just to answer that, if you look at your lifeline, you're gonna realize your patterns. So what is the thing you want to do, what you're best at? And based on that, you can create your own goals, which is, I can send to this also to you, which is about some things you just put in, like creating your idea, what part of your circle of life is needing most attention. And so it's more fluid, it's more following this idea of agile, but always combined with this purpose or like state-driven interaction. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Frieder. And I wish you a lot of courage and mood for your camps, the next camps. When will be the next one? Can you announce already one, or?
It will be in March, but we don't know exactly when.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put a list in there if you're interested, and also for the whole free material, just let me know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Who got the prize? Who got the prize? I didn't count, but maybe somebody else did.
Ah! How much did you count?
I didn't count.
What is the guess?
Did anybody count?
I counted 4.
4? Sounds pretty, maybe? Then I did a job with less courage.
No other number?
I don't know, but what I would offer is, the present is the free version of the book we're gonna release in May, hopefully. And if you give me your name, you get the first print version of the book for free.
Oh, cool. Thanks a lot. That's a good one. It's better to finish a book than a PhD, perhaps, huh?
Maybe.
You never know. So before we go into the break, and you can ask further questions also to Frieder and his mood camps, Elisabeth has something to tell you.